Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the You Got the Ron Dude podcast. I'm your host Ron Jam, and thank you very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. You can download this episode for free on my SoundCloud page. If you're already here, welcome. Stream it for free. Same on YouTube. I got some more notes about the new Avatar movie because I'm trying to be pumped about it. And I also wanted to issue a correction to myself for the last episode. I had said that I thought the Na'vi, it's funny, all these years later, the Na'vi were a tribe, but it's like Na'vi to humans. So that's their race. The tribes, of course, like in the Way of Water, we had the Metkaina, the water people. And then, of course, Jake and Neytiri, the Omaticaya. Hope I'm pronouncing those right, or close enough. So I accidentally referred to them all as the Na'vi. So I'm thinking the Ash people, I don't know if they were always the Ash people or part of a different tribe, but that'll be interesting to see. But again, I wish there was more setup, in the first two movies at least. But and another thing I wanted to touch on, when the humans came back, no nanotech, because I talked about the lack of technological advancements. Now, obviously in this universe, Earth is not in great condition, and we had another huge gap in between movies because it takes them about 7 years to get to Pandora. So at the end of the first one, they're sent home. They come back and it's like, really? No new technology? Even the boats, no real covering, no coverage or anything. But I forgot to mention a couple shots in the trailer for Fire and Ash I am looking forward to. These, just like Quaritch and Kiri, those are the characters I'm most fascinated by, most interested in. The shots in the trailer, looks like the humans win. I don't know if they just capture a few. We see Jake, looks like, who's captured by the humans. We see some of the winged creatures at their camp, at their base. And some people are speculating that they're going to have Jake go to Earth, or that's the plan at least, to face trial, for going against them, for betraying them. And that could be interesting. Or wouldn't they just do it there instead of being like, we're going to ship you back. It's going to take several years, but kind of like when people get sued or divorced and that, and it's like, well, it depends what state you're in. It varies. So in this case, Jake going to Earth, it's like, well, this happened on Pandora, so maybe we have the trial here. But that could be a great cliffhanger. Because I thought about, what if they're going to ship him back to Earth? Let's say, so they capture Jake, he loses a fight to Quaritch. And I think it's pretty safe to say that Spider is Quaritch's son. Not sure who the mother is, but that could be a big revelation, a good twist or something. So let's say they fight, and we see that shot of Spider falling, and at one point all the other kids are around him, and we hear him, go, Spider, no! So maybe he falls to his death. Maybe he tries to stop Jake and Quaritch from fighting, because it's kind of hard to tell if they were in the same area. But let's say Spider does end up dying. So Jake is captured. Quaritch, gets a lucky hit or whatever happens. And they capture Jake and then whomever else, because again, we see those winged creatures. And Quaritch is going to interrogate him. And they talk about, this has been a long time coming. And Jake says that, I'm not the one who betrayed people. You guys came here to mine. Then it's like you want to move people, and then you end up killing a bunch. And that's not right. Then Quaritch is called away, and then he learns that Spider is dead. And he says, because he's saying, like, how? What happened? Who did it? Because he said, I said no one targets that kid. We leave him out of this. Especially since Spider saved Quaritch at the end of the Way of Water after he lost that fight. And I'm kind of writing it in my head, but thinking about, well, let's say Jake is shipped back to Earth, or Quaritch comes back, he runs in and he says something like, let's get you out of here, soldier. Because he's had it. Now they both lost a son. And they don't know what to do. Or, another story idea is that Jake is shipped back to Earth, and then let's say Neytiri wants to go after him. But she doesn't want her kids to see what Earth looks like. But at the same time, it's like, well, she wouldn't want to spend, over a decade away from her kids. And then they come up with some plot device. They're like, well, Neytiri, we can ship you on this ship we have, but, it can only carry you and the pilot, or you and one other. Something like that. Or, another idea I had, because like I said, I think Kiri is the key to everything. What that means, I don't know, but her connection to Awa. So maybe she ends up breaking out Jake before he's shipped back to Earth. And she uses her power, causes mass destruction, maybe kills all the humans, or most of them. And maybe sacrifices herself if she has to. Something like that, because I hate that there's, and I just read this, so I don't know if it's true, but that Fire and Ash takes place a year after the Way of Water, and it's like, really? Jake loses a son and we're just going to skip ahead a year? You want to feel that grief, anger, revenge? We needed some kind of a cliffhanger at the end of the Way of Water. Because we needed more moments, more time to breathe and be like, what are we going to do? Because in the trailer for Fire and Ash, he says we can't live, with this hate. And it's like, okay, so why are we jumping ahead a year? And what's been going on? The humans just, they're just taking it easy, lying low. There's just so much potential. All the short films we could have gotten. I want to see a movie about them going to Pandora, finding it. I mean, they'd venture out pretty far, space travel. We're that advanced, yet we show up with boats and easily destructible machines. And, another correction for myself, because in the last episode I did talk about the laptops and that the humans had on Pandora. Because I forgot about the camp, the people, who were on their side. But still, it's like, well, what about updates in that? Because I'm sure they have coders in that on the planet, but as far as updating devices and that, it's like, well, they're not going to have Earth's, Google updates, would they? Could you download stuff from Earth? There's got to be a way, because now I'm thinking, well, if they do ship Jake back to Earth, likely going to take 7 years, but maybe Kiri, her connection to Awa, can advance it somehow, as far as them sending Neytiri or whomever. Because seeing Jake back on Earth, that's the parallel I wanted to see. Kind of like when I talked about Dune Part 2, the Harkonnen and our heroes. I want to see conversations on Earth. When Giovanni's character gets back and like, so how'd it go? They were a bit resilient, but we're just here to resupply. How are you guys doing? Good to see you. And they just ship them back, and it's like, okay, I want to see those conversations, though. This is a major conflict. Nice thing is these movies aren't simple, and that it's not about one thing. So even the titles, which aren't misleading, but like Fire and Ash, I think is very fitting for this new one. But The Way of Water, it's kind of like, well, that doesn't incorporate the human conflict, or the sky people as they call them. But another thing, kind of a letdown, these big epic movies, years in the making, and this third one, the trailer, they had nothing that's quotable. You know, you remember the first one, 16 years ago, I see you. Very simple words, but very powerful at the time. The Way of Water, I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. Now, I do like that, I think Varang, at the end of the new trailer, says, "Your goddess has no dominion here." That I like, but that's not really a quote, though. Not something moving or epic. But it seems like some people are speculating, like, at the end of 3 or 4 and 5, we'll be going back to Earth. But I just worry because the build-up so far is kind of a letdown. But it'll be interesting because maybe Quaritch, he'll have a conflict with the humans, because maybe they'll just be like, "Oh no, we're wiping all of you out. You know, you're one of the blue people." And, you know, any insubordination or anything, I mean, I could see Quaritch going bonkers, going crazy, because he learns about Spider's death. And he tells that the newer general, you know, "I'm going to wipe all of you out. You need to leave." And I could see him, like, picking her up by her neck and just, like, breaking her. Something brutal. I want this movie to be unpredictable. I really do. Cheer-worthy moments. But so far, the trailer, it just looks like the second movie again. Pretty much. But I am hopeful. And if it ends on a cliffhanger, you know, with Jake captured in that, I think that'll be great for 4. And again, I hope they change that title, the Tolkien writer. But I don't know, maybe there's more in store for that. I'm not sure, but hopefully we'll get another new trailer this month or next month, because December is coming up. So we got about 4 months until the movie comes out. So I'd get people talking and, you know, check Reddit and that. But if it doesn't make at least $1 billion, I'd be pretty surprised. Because even though there's no real hype for it, I think people are curious what's going to happen. But definitely going to see this in theaters. That theatrical experience. And apparently the exact same runtime as The Way of Water. But it's funny because as long as these movies are, you're kind of like, well, I want more. Give us some short films or, you know, in-betweenquels. Did I say that right? In-betweenquels? Yeah. Just little films in between kind of to set up the next movie. But it bugs me because it's like, well, Jake knew they'd be coming back eventually. And you figure once they see the lights in the sky, you know, he sends a message to the other tribes. Maybe they have laptops. He'll say, okay, phase 1. But nothing, they just let him come back and, you know, build a new command center or whatever. And just like, okay, train tracks, no problem. We'll ambush him after a year. But anyways, let me know what you think. Leave some comments below. I'll definitely have more episodes dedicated to this and some more ideas. But I think we're in for a cliffhanger, a great finale. Hopefully a whole third act. That's great. So, yeah, let me know what you think. And again, you can download this episode, stream it for free on SoundCloud. Link in the description. Stream free on YouTube. And that is it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time.